If you want to buy a new group set and money was no object, then surely there's only one option: Campagnolo Super Record EPS. Granted, you might have to sell a kidney or two to afford it, but the performance is truly stunning. And in this video, I'll share my experience riding a group set for the last few weeks and go through shifting, braking, looks, weight and price, and how it compares to top end offerings from Shimano and SRAM. You might have seen my review on the Bianchi, and if you missed it, there's a link above so you can go and watch that as well after this video. And if you enjoy watching this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Okay, let's dive in. Campagnolo has an impressive history. From the invention of the quick release to a long line of innovations, the company has consistently been at the forefront of group set development. And it's also all that racing success. Many victories in the biggest and smallest bike races have been won on Campagnolo group sets of one sort or another. And all that experience and racing focus really shows in this latest flagship group set. It really is the best of the best. The best materials, the best performance, the best looks, perhaps not the best price, but leave price to one side, and it really is the best of the best. A worthy rival to anything from Shimano or SRAM or other group set manufacturers. Let's start with looks, and while I know looks are subjective, there's no denying this is a beautiful group set to look at. Campagnolo group sets have always been really pretty compared to more industrial Shimano and SRAM group sets, and this continues that fine tradition. It's helped by an overindulgence of carbon fibre, from the rear derailleur, the front derailleur, the stunning crankset, and even the brake levers, all made from beautiful carbon fibre. And where carbon isn't used, there's titanium, an equally exotic and expensive material, most notably in the cassette at the back here. And even the disc brake rotors look nice as well. So all things considered, in my opinion, this is a really good looking group set and nicer than anything from Shimano and SRAM. That's just my opinion. You might disagree, and if you do, let me know in the comment section down below. Well, as you'd expect for a top-end group set with this sort of price tag, the shifting performance is incredible. It really is very good, and a rival from anything from Shimano or SRAM. The shift speed is lightning quick, no delay, no hesitation. Press a button and wham, it changes gear super quickly. And it's so quiet, you almost don't notice the gears changing at all. Much quieter than Shimano and SRAM. A really nice feature of the group set, which is useful at the top or bottom of a hill, is that you can press and hold either the upshift or downshift lever, and the rear mech will just push a chain right across the cassette from the smallest sprocket to the biggest sprocket, or vice versa. And it shifts under load in all situations. I've really tried to catch it out by shifting under extreme load on a steep climb, but nothing troubles it at all. Either front shifting or rear shifting, it just works flawlessly all the time. You can also customize the shifting through the company's own smartphone app, which connects via Bluetooth, really easy to use. And from that app, you can also do other things like firmware updates and just check it's all working okay as well. Like other electronic group sets, that front mech auto trims, so when you change from a big ring to a little ring, it'll adjust itself. And when you go higher or lower on the cassette at the back, it'll also trim as well. So no noise from the chain rubbing on the front mech, which can be an issue with some mechanical group sets, and that's a real benefit of an electronic group set, whether Campagnolo, SRAM or Shimano. The other aspect of shifting performance is the ergonomics of the hoods. And here Campagnolo has a very distinctive design layout compared to Shimano and SRAM. And I think it's fair to say everybody has a preference. Some people absolutely love the way Campagnolo separates the shifts for up and down with a small paddle behind the hood there and a lever behind the brake lever, but some people don't really get on with it. But all that said, it's an easy group set to use, and in my experience, fairly intuitive. The thumb lever is now downturn, so you more easily reach it in the drops and in the hoods as well, so that's a nice noticeable improvement over some of Campagnolo's previous efforts. One really neat detail is how you move the downshift lever for the rear mech closer to you as it swings back from the brake lever. So when you're climbing, you can have that closer to you in your fingers, so you can change to an easier gear as you need as the climb gets worse or your legs start to fall off. So I do like that as well. And while we're here, we should talk about ergonomics And by that I mean the shape and size of the hoods. And I really like them. But I must admit, I've always liked Campagnolo hoods over the years, going right back to that old 9 and 10 speed group set, which you might have seen on that video, link above if you missed it. Used to be much smaller, and now they're quite large, but I like how it's rounded, got a really nice rubber material on the hoods, and it wraps right around the bottom of the brake lever, and I find it fits my hands really nicely and feels really comfortable in the hands, compared to SRAM, which is boxier and more squared off. And while the hoods are taller than that old school Campagnolo, when you're in that now fashionable, aggressive aero position, you really hook your hands around the hoods and a nice supportive position. Just a great feeling set of hoods. And also the brake levers, nice and curved, so good access from the drops. And they look great as well, and the carbon feels really nice in the hands as well. So yes, the ergonomics and the hood design work really well for me. But I know the shifting layout doesn't work for everybody. So let me know which shifting layout you prefer from Campagnolo, SRAM or Shimano by leaving a comment down below. Super Record EPS is a 12-speed group set. Campagnolo was actually the first to 10-speed, and then 11-speed, and then 12-speed. And up front, we have a 50-34, which I'm thankful for on my steep climbs. But you can opt for a 52-36 or a 53-39 if you want. Then for the cassette, there are two options, 11-29 and 11-32, which covers all bases, sporties and road races, etc. When Campagnolo went from 11-speed to 12-speed, they simply used an extra sprocket to tighten up the cassette. So a much smoother cadence progression from a small sprocket up to a big sprocket. They certainly didn't take the opportunity to revamp the gearing range in the way that SRAM did when it went to 12-speed, by using smaller chain rings with a smaller gap between the big and small chainring, and a new 10-2 sprocket on the new cassette, offering a wider range, lower gears and higher gears than the group set offers, which in my opinion works better for normal riders in the normal world that we all ride in, with big climbs and fast descents and everything in between. And in that way, it's a more conventional, traditional group set, which I know will appeal to many people who may be put off by the way that SRAM is going with its 12-speed group sets. So easy to live with if that's what you're used to, no great surprises, and it works well if that's what you like. Super Record EPS is available with rim brakes if you're old school, or disc brakes as we have here. So your hydraulic disc brakes with flat mount calipers and 160 rotors front and rear. Now I've spent extensive time on Shimano, SRAM and Campagnolo group sets now with hydraulic disc brakes. And in my experience, I think the lever feel, when you actually pull on the levers to apply brakes, feels the best on Campagnolo. It has a more natural feel. And I said in my review of the Bianchi that they almost have a rim brake feel, a really well dialed in rim brake feel, that you have more of an idea of what's happening when you pull the levers. And I find the modulation, which is a well-used term for describing disc brakes, that feel before you get to the biting point, is the best with Campagnolo. The outright power in terms of when you need to stop really quickly is on par with Shimano and SRAM, although I haven't done any extensive detailed brake test performance comparing the three group sets. In my experience riding my local roads on roads I know really well, I can stop just as quickly on this group set as anything from Shimano and SRAM. So that's good, that's not in doubt at all, but it's the way they feel that really has won me over. I've been riding this bike through rain and shine, and the brakes don't make any noise at all. No squealing, no hissing, no complaining in the rain, no noise at all, and that's been really impressive. So just nice, hassle-free braking. There's also no rubbing either, whether out of saddle and sprinting, giving the full beans on your steepest climbs. There's no rub from the front or rear brakes. And in the month or so I've had this bike and the group set, I've not had any problems at all. No hassle, no maintenance. I haven't touched them in fact. I've not even looked to see the pad materials are still healthy, but I can see now there's plenty of life in the pads yet, so plenty of miles left in the brakes. So no noise, no rubbing, no faff, no issues. I can't see any downside apart from the weight penalty of disc brakes over rim brakes. But for me, it's not a big issue really. The performance, the way the brakes feel, that one figure braking in all situations is what wins me over about disc brakes. But if you don't like disc brakes, you can buy the rim brake group set instead. With such an excessive use of carbon fibre and titanium in the construction of the group set, it is no heavyweight. It is a very lightweight group set. Now, getting independently verified weights for each group set on the market at the moment is quite tricky, and rather than go off the claim weights from the manufacturers, I've used this website here which has weights for every group set on the market right now. I'll flash it up, and there you can see the weights of the 3 group sets: Dura-Ace Di2, SRAM Red eTap Axis, and Campagnolo Super Record EPS. And while this isn't the lightest group set you can buy, they're all around 2 kilos, give or take 100 grams here or there. So I think it's fair to say it's definitely a lightweight group set, considering it's electronic and considering you have hydraulic disc brakes as well. So certainly not a heavy group set, it has to be said. The one battle that Campagnolo Super Record EPS easily wins is in the price. This is the most expensive group set in the world, with a retail price when launched back in 2019 of just over £4,000. And to put that in perspective, Shimano Dura-Ace Di2 and SRAM Red eTap Axis around £3,500, £3,700 thereabouts. But those are the recommended retail prices. As always, it's worth shopping around because there are some fairly hefty discounts we had, although at the moment getting group set is pretty tricky due to a supply issue caused by COVID-19. So that's the price of the group set on its own, but it's more than likely at this price point for this sort of customer, you're buying the bike with the group set on. And if you want a Super Record EPS equipped bike, well, you're looking at some fairly serious money in today's market. This Bianchi Specialissimo here retails for just under £13,000. And that is the kind of ballpark price between £10,000 and £12,000 for a bike with this £4,000 group set on. So certainly not a cheap option. There are cheaper bikes we had, but if you want the best of the best, well, that's a price you have to pay, I'm afraid. There's one question I'm sure many of you will ask in the comment section: is it worth the money? I mean, £4,000, it's a staggering amount of cash. And yes, some of you will point out you can buy an entire bike or 2 for the price of this one group set. But it really is the best of the best. For the person who wants the best group set, no compromise, they want the best performance, the best looks, the best materials. Now, going back 20 or 30 years, not speaking from experience, speaking to more experienced cyclists who were around when Campagnolo were a lot more common and there were a lot less group set options, you had to buy the best group set, the top of the range group set, to get anything like decent performance. But nowadays, we're very fortunate. We have group sets from Shimano, Campagnolo and SRAM offered at 6, 7, 8 price points, like 105, Tiagra and so on, and all that technology, all that performance and reliability from the top end race-proven group sets has trickled right down to really affordable levels, which means it's much easier to get a good road bike with a good reliable group set that offers good performance at a much lower price than was ever achievable 20 or 30 years ago. So I just really want to give some context to how group sets have evolved in that period, how it got so much better, more affordable, more reliable. I mean, you don't have to go out and buy the best group set like this. You can now buy a group set at a fraction of the price. When it comes to actual riding experience, will it improve your life, your riding enjoyment over a cheaper group set? Well, probably not. But it is nice to use. It's nice to look at, it's nice to own, it's nice to live with. And while the difference in performance might be small, there is a measurable performance difference there, which will matter to some people more than other people. Let me talk more about how it compares to Shimano Dura-Ace Di2 and SRAM Red eTap Axis. And in truth, each group set offers near flawless performance. They are all exceptionally good, whether shifting, braking, and just general reliability. You won't be disappointed with any group set you choose in this price range. But there are differences in how they approach the idea of a group set, and it's those differences that will make one group set over the other 2 appeal to you more. Those are all the tangibles then. There's also the intangible. And for Campagnolo, it's all the history, the heritage, race success, the Italian passion. All that appeals to many cyclists that you can't really define in a graph or spec sheet. And for many people, all that will add to the value the group set offers over Shimano and SRAM. If I could afford it, I would definitely buy it in a heartbeat, but I can't, so sadly it's going back. But if you can afford it, you won't be disappointed at all. Anyway, that's my review of the Campagnolo Super Record EPS group set. And if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to put them down below in the comment section. And if you enjoyed watching this video and found it useful, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all again next time. Thank you so much for watching.